Welcome everyone. I hope you're enjoying the beginning of this long weekend. Today we're going to explore how habits and routines can help in making healthy choices feel more natural and effortless. Because we know the truth is we don't rise to motivation every day. So we often fall back into our regular routines for one simple reason, and that's because they're easy. So when healthy habits become part of your everyday life, you tend to spend less energy negotiating with yourself about whether you're going to do them or not. So let's take a look at this topic in a little bit more detail. Healthy habits, what are they? So they are small, everyday actions that become second nature. So automatic behaviors that we do without even thinking about them. So, brushing your teeth after you've had your breakfast. It could be packing your bag for work the night before. It could be automatically walking in the door after work and putting the kettle on to have a cup of tea. So we don't normally stop and debate about whether we'll do those things or not. They just become automatic and something we do without thinking. So healthy habits can be automatic also, but it takes repetition and consistency to get to that place where they are easier to do. So why are they so important that we're always talking about them? They eliminate the need for constant willpower and decision making. And we know that that's really important because decision making fatigues us, and it's very real, because if something is just too much effort, you're not going to be bothered doing it. So the less you have to think about doing it, the more automatic it is, the more likely you are that you will actually do it. So the more decisions we make during the day as well, the harder healthy choices can feel later on in the day. And habits can reduce that mental load if you just do them without having to think too hard about them. So they eliminate constant willpower and decision making. So I want you to really think about that. If it's something that you don't have to rely on your willpower and you don't have to think about doing it, what are the things that you're more likely to do that you know are good for your health and well-being? So keep that in the back of your mind as we get through today's topic. So let's take a look at the science behind it. We know that when we repeat actions consistently, our brain creates neural pathways. Now, we've spoken about this before, and we've spoken about looking at it as a type of path. So for me, the easiest way to explain it, and hopefully for you to visualize this, is imagine walking out of your front door and your front path has disappeared, and there is just grass, the same length all the way across your front yard. Now, the first time you decide which way you're going to take, it's going to feel strange because you don't really know where you should be stepping. But if you choose a path and then use that same path every day to walk out of your house and then walk back in your path, after a while, that path becomes clearer and it becomes more obvious and it becomes easier. So rather than stepping out your front door and go, where will I go? You can already see the path in front of you, and without even thinking about it, you'll just start to step on that path that you've cleared, and that's the way you'll take. It's a kind of a little bit about the way that our brains tend to work. At first, healthy choices can feel like a lot of effort and you have to really think about them. But after a while, if you repeat them often enough, they start to feel more familiar to you. And this is why consistency is so important. In fact, it's more important than getting it right every time, is you consistently trying to do them every day and very often. Getting it wrong sometimes isn't really an issue, as long as you keep trying to consistently do that same effort. That's what's going to help you to make it into a habit. So let's look at some really basic routines that you may think about setting up for yourself. So for example, a healthy morning routine, what might that look like? If you're someone that's wanting to, get up in the morning and kind of wake yourself up properly, you might decide, you know what, I'm just going to start with some really simple stretches. Even 2 minutes of stretching can help wake up the body and the mind to create momentum for the day. So thinking about what that would look like, doesn't mean that you're happy to get up in your pajamas still and have looked up on YouTube or looked up somewhere some really simple exercises that might take a couple of minutes for you to work on them straight away. If you start doing that every single day, I can guarantee you by day 7, it won't feel anywhere near as disjointed or difficult as it did on day 1, right? Maybe your morning routine might be before you eat anything, you have a full glass of water. before you start your breakfast. Maybe your morning routine could be something really simple as the night before, getting out the things you're going to have for breakfast and having them already sitting at the breakfast table. So you wake up and on autopilot, you just go and, rip open that sachet of oats and pour it into your bowl, and all you're going to do is add the milk and pop it in the microwave. So thinking about what would a healthy morning routine look like for you to help you set up. Think about your healthy evening routine. What could help you the night before? If you're wanting to exercise in the morning, we often hear members like yourself saying, putting out your clothes the night before. Why is that such a big deal? Because it's one less thing to do in the morning. You get up, they're laid out, you can be half asleep. Put on your joggers, your socks, your jumper, whatever, walk out the door. It's setting yourself up for the intention that you're going to do it, but also the ease of doing it the next day. Maybe a healthy morning routine might be packing your lunch the night before. If you've run out of time in the morning or you can't think about what to take, pack it the night before, track it the night before, and then you are so much more likely to follow through. Makes a huge amount of difference. Our evening routines often influence tomorrow morning so much more than we realize. It's a really big one. What about a snack routine? When you're feeling hungry, maybe drink water first, wait that 10 minutes, and then decide if you really are hungry, or maybe choose a planned snack instead. So have your planned snacks for the day. You can even track them, because as you know, even if you plan something and put in your tracker, if you change your mind, you can always delete it, or you can change it for something else. But if it's in the tracker and you've planned it, again, you are much more likely to follow through with it than something unplanned and think about, it's 4:30, I'm feeling a bit peckish, what's in the fridge and pantry? That's very dangerous, as you know. So the goal here isn't to overhaul your whole life. And it's certainly not to make things difficult for you, but it's to create little tiny routines that can support you and in time will feel like they're much easier to actually do. The key point here is that this is not about trying to be perfect. If you miss a day, you just pick it up where you left off. You don't get angry with yourself. You don't think it's the beginning of the end. You just go, that didn't work, so I'll do it again. Next opportunity, right? And if you feel like it's still a little bit too hard, or if you've tried too many other times it hasn't worked, try this. Aim for the 1% rule. What does that look like? It looks like this. If you get just 1% better each day for a whole year at, say, tracking or planning or doing something where you're a little bit more active, how much better are you going to be by the end of a whole year? At 1% every single day, what is that going to look like? That's going to look like 365%, right? 1% better every day. Won't take you a whole year. What you will need to do is just work on 1 week at a time, 7%. 3 weeks go by, that's 21%. By the time you get to the end of your first month, you're already a third of the way to 100%. So think about that and see if you can work on it. The power of small, consistent habits. And I think many of us underestimate the power of small change because you don't see any immediate results. So you might think, what's, a 15-minute walk going to do? But a 15-minute walk every day for 7 days, again, you keep multiplying that, perhaps exceeding the 10, might become 15, might become 20. You start being that person that walks an hour a day every day. It has to start somewhere, okay? Small, consistent and repeated actions actually will compound over time. It's so important to remember. And one better choice may not change your life today, but repeat it daily, it absolutely can make some massive differences to you. So I want you now to spend a couple of minutes thinking about this question. What is one healthy habit that you've already built that feels automatic now? I bet you have so many of them that you can't think of one, but spend some time really thinking about this. Maybe pause this video and write down 5 things that you do now that you never did before Flourish. The problem is we often spend so much time focusing on what we're not doing well that we forget to acknowledge the things that we are doing well, and we forget to celebrate them. So confidence grows when we build from strength, not from criticism. So pause this video, think of 5 things that you have gotten really good at doing that have become a habit for you that you weren't doing before. And when you're ready, you can resume. Okay, hopefully you found at least 5, if not more. Now I want you to think about identifying opportunities. So I want you to think about what's one healthy habit that you would like to start working on. Don't think of 5 or 6, just one. What is something that you think would really be helpful to you that you would like to see as something that you'd like to work on? Now, I want you to think of them as an opportunity, not as something that you're not good at or something that you don't do. See it as an opportunity. So that might be something like, you know what, I've been saying for ages that I'm going to start doing some exercise and I do nothing. So what opportunities have I got coming up where I could start implementing exercise? Could it be an opportunity to set the alarm just 15 minutes earlier and do 10-minute workout on YouTube, for example? Is there an opportunity where you might have time during your lunch break to, instead of sitting on a lounge or sitting working at the table or just flicking through your phone, could you start taking your joggers to work and just do a 15-minute walk around the block in your lunch hour? Think about the habit you'd like to create and think about the opportunities you've got to make that habit work, okay? Every action you make, every action you do, no matter how small, can be the beginning of a brand new habit for you that you would like to achieve. Okay, in this week's newsletter, you will get a handout, and I'd like you to print it out if you'd like to and use it to help you create a personal habit plan. It talks through the week's focus, certain questions that can help you personalize what you will do and how you're going to track it. You've also got some really simple success tips to keep you motivated for the week as well. So please look out for your newsletter, and this will be an attachment in that newsletter for you to print out if you would like. So next week, we have our special guest speaker, Dr. Greg Elliott, coming in, aka Mari's husband. Greg has done his master's in psychology, and he is going to explore a really important question with us, which is why don't our brains let us do hard things and how we can get around that. If you've heard Greg speak before, you'll know that he's a very engaging speaker, and I still have many members that still say to me, you know, those things Greg said still stick in my mind. So I really hope you can join us. Greg will only be speaking at the 8:30 meeting on Saturday morning. So if you can join us that day, that would be amazing. I think it's the 13th of June. I think, check your calendar. That day also, there will be no 10 a.m. meeting. It will just be the 8:30 meeting. So if you can please get to that meeting, that would be awesome. I will be aiming to deliver what Greg will be speaking about on the Friday morning and on the Monday afternoon as well. But if you would like to see my man actually do it well, then if you can get to 8:30 in the morning on the Saturday morning, that would be amazing. Thank you so much. I hope you got something out of today's presentation, and I will look forward to catching up with you all next week. Have a wonderful week. Bye.